Stephanie Jenkins, widely known on TikTok as the so-called Mercy Mom, has become the center of a disturbing internet firestorm. Once famous for her raw, emotionally charged family content and unpredictable live streams, Stephanie is now drawing intense scrutiny for reasons that go far beyond drama or influencer gossip. What began as typical online speculation has now escalated into genuine concern, as longtime fans, past supporters, and even those who once cheered for her redemption arc are starting to express alarm over what appears to be a serious and possibly dangerous situation. The controversy exploded after a seemingly ordinary video of Stephanie began circulating online. In it, she's seen casually folding clothes and chatting with viewers like usual. But eagle-eyed watchers quickly spotted something sticking out of her leggings, a small, oddly shaped object that many immediately suspected was a drug pipe.
Okay, so apparently Stephanie Jenkins has been exposed for using Meth. Now, at first it was all speculation, but in her latest video, people saw some hard evidence. So let's go ahead and analyze. So this is her last video, and as you can see, there seems to be something in her pocket that has a very circular shape and then a little pipe. And if you look, this image is pretty hard to come by. Like, this could only really be a few things. And one of those things is a pipe. And there you can see Stephanie like folding the laundry. So I went ahead and did a little bit of research to see like what a Meth pipe really looks like. And it seems to almost be an identical shape, like literally identical. Now, am I surprised? Absolutely not. But I am a little shocked that she didn't catch that and that she hasn't taken the video down. I think she's not taking the video down because she knows if she takes it down, then it's gonna make her look really guilty. And mind you, literally last night, if you go to my most recent post, she had posted on Facebook saying that she sees all the comments and that she's never done anything hard. Why would she have that like in her goddamn leggings? Like, girl, how often are you using all that?
The video was quickly dissected on TikTok, Reddit, and private Facebook groups. Some viewers with personal experience in addiction and recovery were especially vocal, stating that the object looked unmistakably like a pipe for smoking illicit substances. This wasn't random internet hate. These reactions came from people who had seen the real thing up close, and they weren't hesitant to call it out. What makes this incident so significant is that it didn't come out of nowhere. Stephanie and her partner, Drew, have both spoken about their past struggles with substance abuse. Stephanie's mother has previously shared that her daughter began using at just 16, which marked the start of a long, painful cycle of addiction and personal chaos. During that period, Stephanie distanced herself from her family and entered a deeply toxic relationship with Jeremiah Thompson, a man with a deeply unsettling past. Jeremiah was far more than a bad influence. He had committed serious acts of violence, including crimes against his own mother and young girls. Despite all of this, Stephanie married him and had 2 children with him, remaining in the relationship even as things fell apart. He was eventually incarcerated, and only then did Stephanie leave. After the relationship ended, she returned to her mother's home, still battling her addiction. Her mother, despite everything, stepped in and paid for Stephanie's rehab out of pocket, reportedly using her last savings to do so. It was an act of deep sacrifice, not just support. At the same time, Drew was fighting his own demons. According to people who knew him in childhood, he too had developed substance issues from a young age and later entered treatment.
Was this a tragic situation? Absolutely not. Stephanie was fucking living fine and grandiose at her mother's fucking house. And Andrew was fine with his government-assisted living. Who basically fucked up this whole situation? Stephanie, by being that down bad for a fucking man to move in with her king, that she basically fucked all of her kids. Can Stephanie redeem herself and still go back to her mom's house? Yes. Is Stephanie going to do that? No, because she's obsessed with that fucking man. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, at the time that Drew was in that one bedroom, he was working an actual fucking job. He ended off, I don't know what ended up happening with that job, but it didn't work out for him, and then he ended up having to like try DoorDash and all this other shit, and like now apparently he has health problems.
So when that viral video appeared, showing what looked like a pipe, people who knew their story weren't shocked. Instead, it felt like a painful echo of the past, something that had already happened, now possibly happening again. That incident, combined with a growing number of odd behaviors and decisions, has painted a picture that many believe points to a relapse. One particularly confusing moment came when Stephanie and Drew made the abrupt decision to sell their family van, a large vehicle that could fit all 5 of their children, and replace it with a smaller, more expensive Jetta.
It's a financial decision. It's not something that It's not like we can't afford both vehicles, because if we really pushed and grind and get it together, we could, but it makes other opportunities just a definite no for us. And we had a lot of summer goals. We wanted to move. We wanted to be able to camp a couple times this summer. And our van is going to need like $2,500 put into it. And that would just really put a damper on us being able to do any of those summer plans. So, and the fact that we're already paying like $700 a month for it, basically just to sit and not be able to go more than 2 or 3 miles at a time. Now my hubby, he is the type to work himself to the fucking bone and carry financial stress, and he won't say shit to me. And I was just like, baby, something's going on. You need to talk to me. And he's like, babe, if we don't do something about the vehicles, we're not going to be able to move. It's just not a reality for us. And I'm like, dude.
The new car, while stylish, doesn't meet the basic needs of their family. Followers were quick to question the move. Why trade in a practical, family-sized vehicle for a flashy car that can't fit everyone? The choice felt impulsive and irresponsible, especially since Stephanie has been posting emotional videos asking for help, sympathy, and even financial support from her audience.
Hold the hell up. So the Jenkins have a brand new 2024 car. You're a family of 7 with a 2024 car, Volkswagen. Drew is on his page posting about it. Why wouldn't you go out and buy an RV or something? You're literally buying something you can't even fit your entire family in. But people will try to drag me for making videos like this when this family posts their entire life on the internet for everyone to see and uses their kids for content. They have their 5 kids living in a hotel room, but they could go out and buy a new car. That does not fit everyone. Like, put your thinking cap on. Why are your priorities so messed up? And I thought Drew didn't have a driver's license, so couldn't do Uber or anything like that. I really hope you're using this car to go put in house applications or job applications at this point. In almost every single one of Stephanie's videos now, she has to show a clip of Drew doing something besides playing the PS5. I feel so bad for these kids. They clearly have some kind of money. They shop at Target, and we know Target is not cheap. But you can't get your kids out of that situation, and you're buying brand new cars. I have no words.
Her social media presence has also grown increasingly erratic. One day she's fiery and confrontational, calling people out, naming names, and making aggressive, emotional declarations. The next day, she's calm and reflective, delivering messages about self-love, healing, and moving forward. The extreme mood shifts are hard to ignore. Some viewers have noted that Stephanie's eyes appear red and dilated in certain clips, and those familiar with the signs of substance use have pointed to this as yet another concerning indicator. Then came the most alarming event so far. Drew reportedly suffered a seizure. According to reports, he collapsed and convulsed for several minutes, prompting an emergency call to paramedics. The first question they asked was whether he had taken any substances, a standard part of medical protocol. But Stephanie's response was explosive. She lashed out on camera, accusing the paramedics of racism and reacting as though Drew had been unfairly targeted or accused. Her intense defensiveness struck many as suspicious, especially given the seriousness of the situation and the basic nature of the question. What made things even more puzzling was that Drew was released from the hospital shortly after the incident, without undergoing extensive testing or follow-up evaluations. That raised eyebrows, as hospitals typically perform a thorough workup after a seizure unless the cause is known and non-medical in nature. Many people began to suspect that the hospital may have concluded that the seizure was drug-related, which would explain the quick discharge. As public concern grew, the internet started labeling Stephanie with nicknames like Meth. Rather than ignoring the chatter, Stephanie responded on Facebook with a long, emotional post. In it, she denied ever using hard drugs and condemned the public for judging her based on how she looks. She blamed poverty, stress, and the toll of constant online harassment for her appearance and behavior, saying things like, "Poverty and stress age a person," and insisting that people were attacking her simply because she didn't look polished or glamorous. She framed the controversy not as a reflection of her choices, but as society's cruelty toward people who don't meet aesthetic expectations. Despite her attempts to defend herself, many remain unconvinced. The pipe footage, Drew's medical scare, the erratic mood swings, the financial instability, and the history of confirmed substance struggles all seem to be pointing toward a much darker reality than Stephanie is willing to admit. She has long tried to position herself as someone simply worn down by life's hardships, not someone making harmful or irresponsible choices. But the internet isn't buying that narrative anymore. The backlash she's facing isn't about her appearance or the fact that she isn't dolled up. It's about her behavior. It's about the very public choices she's made, the ones she willingly puts on display for everyone to see. One of the most talked about moments was when she traded in a fully functional family van big enough to accommodate all 5 of her children for a flashy car that can barely seat 4 people comfortably. It wasn't just a questionable decision. It felt like a blatant disregard for her family's actual needs. On top of that, she continues to post chaotic, emotionally charged videos, often rambling or ranting, while her kids can be seen wandering in the background, seemingly left to their own devices. And then there's the now infamous video clip, where something that looks unmistakably like a meth pipe is seen sticking out of her waistband while she folds clothes, completely unaware. That clip didn't just spark concern, it hit like a lightning bolt. But what made it even more alarming were the mixed messages she's been sending. On one hand, Stephanie blames poverty for the state she's in. She claims that being broke is what's wearing her down and accelerating her aging. Yet, not too long ago, she made a video proudly saying that working a job steals 10 years off your life, and that she and Drew made a conscious decision to avoid that lifestyle entirely. So, which one is it? Is poverty destroying her, or is hard work the real villain in her story? Because to most people, especially those trying to raise families, the idea of working to support your children is a necessary part of life, not something to look down on. Rather than taking a moment to acknowledge the valid concerns people have raised, Stephanie lashed out at them. She targeted the very people who were trying to hold her accountable, accusing them of being judgmental and cruel. But the reality is, once kids are involved, this conversation goes beyond image and reputation. It becomes about their safety, stability, and well-being. This isn't about internet bullying, it's about real accountability. Despite all the red flags, Stephanie insists she's never touched hard drugs. She paints a picture of herself as someone who's always managed to stay just above the waterline, but her own mother has shared a very different version of events. According to her, Stephanie's drug use became serious enough that rehab was the only option, and it wasn't cheap. Her mother paid for it out of pocket, using her last remaining savings. That's not something a parent does unless their child is in real trouble. Rehab isn't a casual choice. It's a desperate, final step when everything else has failed. Meanwhile, Stephanie has been vocal in praising Drew's sobriety, saying he's been clean for 6 years and that they don't allow alcohol in the house, not even for cooking. But if they're both living such a clean lifestyle, why are there so many inconsistencies? Why does Stephanie become so defensive and angry whenever substance use is brought up? Why dodge the question, deny everything, and lash out instead of offering clarity? And of course, the question that keeps resurfacing. What was that pipe? People aren't just speculating for entertainment. They're genuinely alarmed, because this isn't just a scandal, this could be a dangerous situation, especially for the children. Stephanie's erratic behavior online, Drew's unexplained seizure, the questionable financial choices, the strange emotional swings, it all adds up. And when people connect the dots, a picture they're seeing is disturbing. What makes this situation even sadder is the fact that there were people who truly rooted for Stephanie. They believed she was just overwhelmed, that she was doing her best. Many thought she was struggling, sure, but never truly out of control. That all started to fall apart when the pipe made its way into the frame. After that, it was harder to ignore the warning signs. Now, people are left wondering what's really going on. Is Stephanie stirring up controversy on purpose to keep her social media engagement high? Is this all just a way to stay relevant and profitable online? Or are we watching someone in deep distress, unraveling while the cameras keep rolling and refusing the help she clearly needs? No matter how you look at it, the saddest part is clear. It's the children who are caught in the middle, paying the highest price. This may not be a case of the internet overreacting. It might just be one of those rare times when online concern is pointing to something dangerously real.